Prologue, a separate introductory section of a literary or musical work. In my book, which, according to the internet, many people seem to agree with, a prologue should do 4 things. 1. It should set the audience up with any necessary exposition. 2. Establish the ensuing film's tone. 3. Outline its core themes. And 4. Do this all while functioning like an autonomous story. It should have a beginning, middle, and end. Not every prologue checks all 4 boxes, and not every prologue is trying to, but it's cool when I see a prologue that accomplishes all 4 of these tasks, especially in a way that I've never seen. What you're now seeing on screen is the prologue to Johnathan Glazer's 2004 film Birth. I'm going to shut up and let the next minute play out uninterrupted. As you watch, see if you can identify the ways in which it checks the 4 aforementioned boxes: exposition, tone, theme, and self-contained story. So, anything? Maybe you caught what I'm referring to, but it's possible that all you saw was a man running through Central Park, keeling over and dying. That's all I saw when I first watched Birth about a year ago. However, I recently revisited the film and upon rewatch, truly believe that it's the smartest film prologue I've ever seen. Birth is about Anna, a woman who, as she's about to remarry, is visited by a boy claiming to be the reincarnation of her late husband.
It's me.
The boy, named Sean, is 10 years old. Anna's previous husband, also named Sean, died exactly 10 years before. The young boy possesses unexplainable knowledge about Anna and his so-called previous life with her.
How do you know, Bob? He was my brother-in-law.
And while Anna is a rational woman of science, her lingering grief clouds her judgment and blurs the lines between reality and fantasy, what she wants versus what she believes to be true. Birth is about a lot of things: love, death, the absurdity of life, but I don't think it's productive to say that those are the film's themes. More topics of exploration. When I say theme, I'm referring to the message at the core of the story, the statement it's making. Birth's plot revolves around the question, is young Sean actually Anna's deceased husband reincarnated? And it's within the answer to that question that lies Birth's core theme. Okay, so say you're Johnathan Glazer sometime in the early 2000s, and you're working on this new script and you decide that you want to write a prologue. What do? What do you write? If you haven't seen Birth, I'll admit that I haven't been entirely fair. There's a part of the prologue that I still need to show you. Before we fade in on the man running through Central Park, we hear a diegetic voice atop the opening credits. I'll play that for you now.
If I lost my wife, and the next day a little bird landed on my windowsill, looked me right in the eye, and in plain English said, "Sean, it's me, Anna. I'm back." Well, what could I say? I guess I'd believe her, or I'd want to. I'd be stuck with a bird. But other than that, no. I'm a man of science. I just don't believe that mumbo-jumbo. Now that's going to have to be the last question. I need to go running before I head home.
Okay, so we know that the runner is Anna's husband, and that we're watching the moment he dies. That means the prologue satisfies the exposition requirement. It gives us the only piece of information that we need going into the film. Anna is a widow. It's worth noting that Sean's death is mentioned a bunch of times throughout the film.
He knew where Sean died.
He said, "It's me, Sean. What am I supposed to think?"
That he is your dead husband.
Well, how often does someone come along claiming to be somebody who's dead?
And that the entire 4-minute prologue can be cut out without affecting the story. The reason it wasn't lies in how it establishes the film's tone and theme. The main way Birth goes about setting up tone is through its score, which is by Andre Desplat. The piece, titled Prologue, begins as a festive, childlike jingle, reminiscent of the holiday season, the folktales told around a fireplace. But over time, it evolves. A layer of resonant, almost foreboding strings enter beneath the flute section. Then, after a moment, the flutes become more urgent, as if warning for some sort of impending danger. Through score, DePlatte wordlessly communicates the tone of the film to come. A wondrous, fairy tale-like premise realized within the harsh, unforgiving, utterly unfantastical landscape of the real world. The color palette feels almost like a parody of a cheerful Christmas movie. The warm yellows and rich emeralds of something like Home Alone are sapped of life, desaturated into bone whites and pale greens. The most colorful thing in the film is the kid's orange Goku backpack, which is just like, who chose that? Anyways, the real genius of Birth's prologue lies in the way it reveals the theme of the film. In general, this tends to be the most difficult criterion for a prologue to meet. It requires honing in on a singular statement that encapsulates the core attitude of the entire film, and then finding a way to express it on screen within a self-contained story with a beginning, middle, and end that also serves as a scene in the overarching narrative. So, how does Birth's prologue do it? Well, let's take a second look. Sean enters the tunnel and is plunged into darkness. The only light comes from the other end. He continues toward it, and as he emerges into the light, one can't help but find the scene reminiscent of, well, there you go, a birth, the beginning. The light dusting of snow floats down, a calm scene. Sean rounds the bend, and the camera slowly begins to track backward into the mouth of a second tunnel. Sean makes it 5 steps inside, slows to a stop, grabs his chest, and drops to the ground. This is my favorite shot of the film. As the camera tracks backward, the darkness around Sean grows as the light of the world shrinks. It's a direct inverse of the previous tunnel. Birth, life, death. In this singular minute, Glazer crafts a wordless, hidden fable using only the visual language of cinema. But how does it express the film's theme? At the beginning of this video, I mentioned the question at the center of Birth's plot. Is Sean actually a reincarnation of Anna's deceased husband, or is he just a kid? It's within this short story that Glazer provides an answer. Why believe in something like reincarnation? What drives a woman to look at a 10-year-old boy and believe that her dead husband is alive inside him? Why do humans invent stories like that? Because it's the easier pill to swallow. It's easier to craft a fantasy than face the truth about our existence. We're not part of some larger plan. There is no heaven, hell, cycle of rebirth, judgment day. We're born by pure chance, exist as a blip on the cosmic scale, and when we die, we're gone. Birth's prologue perfectly encapsulates that terrifying absurdity. We emerge from the darkness, round the bend, are swallowed by it once again, and it all happens in an instant. Glazer's decision to dress Sean in a completely black, nondescript outfit is no mistake either. The running man may literally be Sean, but figuratively, thematically, the ambiguous silhouette isn't a singular person. It's every human being who has and will ever live. I want to make it clear that this isn't me going, all religion is false, nothing matters, go steal from Best Buy. Birth's prologue isn't a reflection of my existential beliefs. It also isn't necessarily a reflection of Glazer's, but I do believe that it's an answer to the film's driving question. Does Anna's dead husband live on inside young Sean? No. Anna's husband is dead, and the boy's a child with mental problems. No matter how much Anna loves Sean, he will never come back. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the real world. And if you ask me, that's scarier than anything else.